Ghostbusters. Everyone kind of liked Ghostbusters. Funnily enough, I watched Ghostbusters again just recently because I showed it to the kids, and I'd forgotten that there...
Lots of swearing.
Yes, isn't
Lots
that
of
weird?
parents. I did exactly the same thing. Gather round, kids. You're going to love this. That's a lot of cussing in it. I don't quite remember that from when I watched it first time round. Ain't that the truth? So, box office top 10. Here we go then. West is West at number 10.
Very, very belated sequel to East is East, with some high aspirations and intentions, but it takes an awfully long time to get going. And when it finally does when it finally gets to the emotional heart of the matter, you feel like it's taken such a long time to get there, you've kind of lost heart. I mean, it's a shame. There was a point when East is East was on hard rotation on Channel 4, like all the time. There was almost never that you turn on the television that it wasn't on. It was a really, really big hit. This is probably... Do you remember ages and ages ago there was a sequel to Chinatown
called
Two Jakes, I think, isn't it? Anyway, it's like, well, exactly. The answer to this is no. Right?
Okay, no.
This is no. Well, it's the same thing. It's like it's a footnote rather than a proper sequel.
So there's unlikely to be North is North and
I don't think so.
Northeast is Northeast working its way around the compass. That ain't going to happen.
I don't think it is.
And okay, number 9 is True Grit,
which I like very much.
Ewan McIntyre says, I went to see True Grit for the second time this week, and I thought it was as close to perfect a film as I've seen in a very long time. The writing and direction from the Cohen brothers was unusual top form. Brilliant cinematography by the brilliant Roger Deakins, and a brilliant, because too many brilliants in this film, Hayley Steinfeld, who should have won Best Supporting Actress despite being a lead. Matt Damon was terrific as the smug Texas Ranger, and I did not find Jeff Bridges hard to understand, but perhaps that was because he spoke like many of my relatives, minus a Scottish accent. Which is an intriguing prospect. Now, there's a couple of films you haven't seen because you've been away doing half-termly things. No Strings Attached is at number 8. So some listeners' comments on No Strings Attached.
Because you tweeted for this in advance. You said, please let us have these. Because we did plan. I just want it to be clear that we planned.
Ricky Curtis says... It can't be Richard Curtis, but it's Ricky Curtis.
Yeah, is he Ricky Curtis to you?
I don't think so.
Ricky and M's?
Ricky says... I'm glad there were no strings attached, otherwise I'd have strangled myself with them. Sam, it's B-A-T-H-E, so would that make it Bath or Bath?
B-A-T-H-E?
Yes.
Well, that's bathe.
Bathe, okay, Sam Bathe. It just sounds unlikely, really, in a surname. Anyway, Sam Bathe.
Well, either that or Bather.
No strings attached. Love is basically love and other drugs without the drugs and the love, also missing good acting.
Okay.
Martin Jones says a moist melange of wobbly rom-com cliches concocts the unsexiest sex comedy ever, with a 15 certificate. And apparently in France, it's Sex Friends is the name of that film. This from Alan says, I spent 90 minutes of my life watching a film lacking in charm, humour or originality. Ashton Kutcher was thoroughly unbelievable and looked disinterested throughout. Natalie Portman was disappointingly average. The support cast, which often provide the laughs in these sorts of films, were woeful. The only thing I could think of that would be worse than this film is going to see one of the trailers that we saw before No Strings Attached. I hold up little hope for Chalet Girl.
Yeah.
Says Alan Grieve.
There's further trailer issues this week, because this week we're reviewing Unknown, not the Unknown, which, as we have noted, the trailer is...
The whole thing?
Pretty much. I mean, somebody who wrote in just on the basis of having said the trailer, the only bit they got wrong was predicting the very, very end.
And Jake, also on No Strings Attached, he says, my review is this: make it stop, make it stop, make it stop, make it stop, and so on. And there's lots more.
That's a line from The Exorcist, incidentally.
Of course. 7 is Big Mamas, Like Father, Like Son.
Make it stop, make it stop, make it stop, make it stop, whatever.
What else do we have here? King's Speech, number 6.
I mean, what is there to say that hasn't been said, other than that Colin Firth won the Oscar deservedly, but as I have said on several occasions, the film for which he should have had the plaudits heaped upon him first was Trauma, directed by Mark Evans, who is waiting outside. The bloke waiting outside, eager to get into the studio. It was the guy who saw in Colin Firth the depth ages ago, age before everybody else suddenly woke up because he just played a royal.
Sam Wheeler, age 13. I went to see The King's Speech, thought the film was great, but it's somewhat overshadowed by my mother, constantly shouting at the screen.
What?
This was most evident when King Bertie was approaching the microphone. I prefer your new one, Mark, to
Thank
his.
You.
My mother shouted, "Go on, do it for Britain!" Which nearly led me to a Latvia-esque way to shoot her and put her on a tombstone, "May the Kermode forgive you." Well, apart from the slightly over violent reaction to your mother, Go On, Do It for Britain is, I suppose it has a certain loyalty and nostalgic charm. Have you ever shouted that ever?
Go on, do it for Britain. I don't believe I have. No. I would like to say on the subject of microphones, what I want is lozenge microphones. I want the old-fashioned lozenge microphones because I'm going to Graceland.
Is that what you want? What you really want? I know you're going to Graceland. And
first time in my life, can't stop being excited about it. Anyway, but I want.
And there's no doubt that you will cry like a girl.
I certainly hope so. I certainly hope that I find Elvis's discarded toenail. As almost everyone who's been there said, I went to Graceland, found one of Elvis's toenails.
Tangled is at 5.
Which I like. I don't like it quite as much as some people do. I mean, I think it's good, solid, family fare. I don't think it's classic or timeless, although we've had many people have written in say that they went to see it and they really, really enjoyed it. The only thing is 3D is perfunctory with the exception of the bit at the end with the lanterns. But it's in comparison with some of the other animated stuff around, it's pretty good.
Yogi Bear.
Which isn't pretty good at all. And I'm not going to do the impression because it annoyed you so much last time.
It did. Well, only because it lent onto...
The picnic basket.
But
Simon, have you got a picnic basket?
The point is, I know you said you weren't going to do the impression, and then you did.
Okay.
Clearly,
Jeff Bridges does Yogi Bear.
The point is to say...
I got a picnic basket. I got a picnic basket. All right.
It's 88 minutes. Or 80 minutes. I think it's a really, really short film. But it just feels like it's forever.
What, Yogi Bear?
Yeah.
Did you? Is that an email? Is that you reading it?
No, that's me. That's my...
Did you see it?
Yeah, I have an opinion of my own.
When did you go to see it? When did you go to see Yogi Bear?
During half term.
Well, after I reviewed it, you went to see Yogi Bear.
As you well know, if children want to see something, children will see something.
Okay, and how did it go down with the children?
Oh, they thought it was all right.
Did they?
It was a way of spending 80 minutes.
Really? Did they come back and go, but a picnic basket?
No, no one says that.
Didn't they?
I am number 4.
So take him to see True Grit. No, I'm talking about that.
It's a 15 certificate.
Yep.
I am number 4, number 3.
No idea. That's your tweeting.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. Mark in Manchester saw I am number... thank you very much to everyone who said it's number 2.
Yeah. Boom.
Thanks. So number 4 this week, fairly enjoyable teen sci-fi fare. Admittedly, there were no surprises. It ticked all the boxes and pushed all the buttons, but was solidly put together. Decent CGI in the now mandatory big computer fight at the end. Chris says, I am number 4 as a decent, well-paced teen sci-fi movie. The first half is a bit too schmaltzy, with quiet, shy teen romance, but surprisingly, the second half is an excellent action movie with terrific set pieces and decent acting from Alex Pettifer and Glee's Diana Agron, although sadly, the always watchable Timothy Olyphant has a quietly underwritten guardian mentor role.
Okay, I like Timothy Olyphant.
So we do Paul at number 2, which down from number 1.
Yeah, so it was number 1 for 1 week, and the interesting thing is, you remember when we were off last week? We said 2 weeks ago, if Paul doesn't go in at number 1 with this pretty spectacular box office, then something will have been seriously wrong because it opened on Valentine's Day, so it had the Tuesday through to the next Monday, so it had a whole week on top of its opening week. It was open for a long time before it opened, essentially, okay? So, obviously, the first week, and Boyd Hilton was on last week, and he said, well, look, it took a huge amount of money, which it did, but it was effectively 2 weeks rolled into one, but it did do very, very well. Now it's dropped down to number 2, which means it's done really well, a big opening on an extended opening weekend, and is now doing well, but not staggeringly well. I still feel the same way about it as I did before, which is that I think it's okay. There are some laughs in it, and I like Peg and Frost. I don't think it has anything like the sort of, the personal feeling that Shaun of the Dead or even Hot Fuzz did. And for me, those are preferable films. It feels like it's been made very much for the mainstream. But as I said when we reviewed it, the question was, if the mainstream embrace and accept it, which they apparently have done because it has taken a bunch of money, then it will perhaps, from their point of view, have been a risk worth taking. The terrible thing would have been if they'd taken all the edges off it and then it turned out to be a pretty middle. I mean, when you consider that it hasn't got very good reviews, that's a pretty solid box office. I still wish that it was more of a Peg and Frost, culty film than it is, rather than a big, mainstream $50 million sci-fi movie.
Number 1 movie, Romeo and Juliet.
I mean...
Okay, that's fine. You don't need to say it.